Hello and welcome to another installment of Tinto maps. As you can see behind me, I guess it's behind me. It's whatever. We've got a map of Africa, south, the east, central. We've got all of that. And well, at the moment it looks kind of empty, but we know, of course, there are some societies of pops to fit in there. Before we get into it, I just gotta say, I think I'm coming down with something. My son's been back at school for a couple of weeks now, and it's just enough time for a lovely bit of, classmate pox to have settled in and made me sick. So if I have to do some pausing in this video, I apologize for that. There might be some cuts while I go and cough my lungs out. That's going to be very fun. If you would like to support the work I do in bringing all of these Tinto talks to you, then feel free to hit the subscribe button. It helps you out as you stay informed about everything coming out for Project Caesar, and it helps me out because I get a little bit of dopamine every time I see that number get a little bit bigger. With that all out of the way, let us actually get in and have a look at Tinto maps number 16. Central, Eastern, and South Africa. Welcome to Tinto Maps, one of the days of the week where we look at some controversial and beautiful maps. Today, we'll finish the regions of the African continent, revealing the maps of Central, Eastern, and Southern Africa. But before we do that, let me remind you that all societies of pops are far from final. Alright, that is important. There is going to be a lot of commentary on whether there is going to be enough, whether there is going to be, if the map is filled out. They are aware of the emptiness of the rich continent, and they're working at adding many more societies of pops in the future. This doesn't mean that you should not worry about it. You shouldn't bother to, throw your opinion on, whether there should be a society of pops in X region. If you feel like a region is empty, even though they are aware of it, you should let them know, as maybe they are missing something that you would not. If you know of this region, if you are aware of the various different cultures that were here, then let that be known. The more feedback they get, the better, in my opinion. With all that said, let us go. The countries. There's not a whole lot here, to be fair. Obviously, we have a little bit of countries in the Congo region, none of which named Congo. Maybe Congo is going to be a formable. We have Kilwa, which is, a favorite of many people from EU4's time period as well. Makua also makes a return. And Zimbabwe now is a country that starts the game rather than being something you form. I'm pretty sure this is Sofala, and I have no idea what this one. As for Madagascar, we've got Vezo, Saf, no idea. ANT, not sure what that is. Betsimisakara, love that one. That is a country that I played in Mayo in Texas way back when, and that was a difficult run. And then in the center we've got Vazimba. We also have this here. Early on we have the societies of pops. So let's see what we have here. The Josa, the Sotho, Nguni, okay. These are people that I have heard of. Some Sena people. This looks a lot more nicely rounded out. I like this. Moving up to Congo areas. Luba, love that, making a return. And the Kuba people, very nice. We've also got Sovo people, the Chokwe people. This looks a lot more nicely filled out, though, again, more the merrier, in my opinion. But yeah, lovely. There are hubs of countries in today's maps, approximately one per region. In Central Africa, we have the polities of Mbanza, Mabata, Mabanza, Congo, Vongu, Nasudi, Mombores, and Mapemba. I'm going to have to skip over a few of these. I think these are hard to pronounce. Some of them led by Mabanza Congo would historically unite and create the Kingdom of Congo. There we go. Which would be the most relevant. and would give its name to the entire region. There are some other peoples around them, such as these people. Meanwhile, in Eastern Africa, a sultanate has been created from Kilwa Kisiwani, expanding throughout the coast and becoming a key trading power in the Indian Ocean. To the south, we have the Great Zimbabwe, a polity created by the Shona people around the settlement of that name. Around them, even more to the south, we have plenty of societies of pops, and finally, we have the Malagasy people settled in Madagascar, which is organised in several polities around the island. Some final words as usual. Please take the extension of the societies of pops as work in progress. As mentioned, since we've represented them, we've got to give them a review, and they'll do at the same time as the map review. Good stuff. On to Dynasties, and yes, my favourite ever dynasty, the Golden Dynasty, the Sturdy Grain Dynasty, the Wild Game Dynasty is a particular favourite of mine. Yeah, they just have these open in the wrong place. If we go on to the actual raw materials map, this is what it's called in the web browser. We have the dynasties here. Nimi, Mapemba, missing all of those that we've just heard of. Chiramani for Zimbabwe. Seeing them there for Madagascar as well. And the Mahadali there for Kilwa. As per usual, some were historical and some had to be randomized. Locations map mode, and this looks quite dense, loving that. Along the coastline especially, getting a little bit less dense when you go into the interiors. Several more detailed maps under the spoiler button as the chunk of land we're showing today is quite extensive. One note to take account is that we're aware that we have some European names here and there which we want to change to native ones using the new system for dynamic naming. Good, love that. Moving up to the western coast Congo area. Very nice indeed. And then on to Madagascar, which has a huge amount of provinces or locations. That might actually be a pretty interesting place to play. And then moving on to South Africa as well, which is especially along the Cape here, is just riddled with locations, which is fantastic, of course. Onto provinces as well. You can kind of see them when you look at the locations map mode, but it's nice to see them here as well. That is a huge zoo province. Love that. And then obviously onto areas as well, which includes the more relevant, I guess, oceanic areas, because this is something you will be exploring. Hopefully, yeah, the sea areas extending into inland is a known bug and they'll fix it eventually. Good. But yeah, these are going to be very important because obviously if you are doing exploration, then you explore area by area. So getting the entire Southern African coastline, then the East African coastline, etc. Onto terrain. We've got tropical, we've got continental, subtropical, arid, cold, arid, basically pretty much everywhere. A bit of oceanic dotted around as well. Flatlands and plateaus for the most part, from some hills and mountains dotted around. And then for the vegetation, we've got thick jungle, less thick forest, less thick woods, and then grassland sparse, and desert as well. Jungle all along the Kilwa coast is very interesting as well. Love that. Very diverse climates today. They range from tropical jungle of the Congo to the tropical rainforests of Mozambique to the Kalahari and Namibia deserts in the south, to the variety of terrains in southern Africa, which make for a very intricate topography in that region. Some natural harbours as well for you. I definitely think these are going to be the prime colonization spots. So these are the one. This is a map mode that you're going to want to have on a hotkey, I think, if you are a colonizer. Basically, obviously, natural harbour is going to be very, very important for your naval escapades. Some very good natural harbours across the region. I think that specifically the strategic importance of the bays of Saldanha and Cape Town around the Cape of Good Hope are very well represented. Lovely stuff. Moving on to the cultures. Oh, wait, no, this is, this is the Dynasties. Just here for some reason. But if we go to the cultures here, we've got them spread pretty nicely. Kubas and Lubas, very nice. I think these are all looking like native names. No European endonyms there, which is pretty nice. We see a very detailed cultural diversity represented here, I think, especially in the Congolese region. Please do note they have some work regarding cultural minorities, which explains the monolithic nature of the image. Religions. This is work in progress as fuck. The placeholder map mode. Raw materials we have seen already, but we'll look at it properly now. Lots of gold, as you can expect in the Zimbabwe region. Makes a lot of sense. Some fruit and clay down in the south. Well, gems here and there as well, which is going to be very, very nice indeed. Some medicaments there on the coast. So we are full up on our stockpile of goods. Love that. Some amber there as well. And just a whole lot of lumber. Just pretty much everywhere, which makes sense for a region with a whole lot of jungle. Some common ones are heavily represented: lumber, wild game, livestock, and fish, into the more unique ones. There are plenty ranging from the famous gold mines of Zimbabwe to gems, ivory, lead, marble, copper, iron, tin, salt. You may also notice there are regional differences, which will also make for gameplay differences on the goods to be exploited and traded in each market. Very nice. The markets then, we have the Bungu Congo, we have Thaba Bosio, Sofala, and the Kilwa Kisiwani markets. Also, we've got Sofala extending a little bit into Madagascar as well. But all the rest of Madagascar in the Kilwa Kisiwani map, which is interesting. 4 market centers across the region: Bungu, Congo, Kilwa, Sofala, Thaba. They have quite consistent market spreads this week, as they already fixed some issues mentioned in previous Tinto maps. Good to know. Population won't be shown, though. They won't be showing it because they found an issue connected to the one we mentioned some weeks ago. There have been pops disappearing in the region, very likely connected to the ones being added in others, which is something that we have to correct. Therefore, it wouldn't be very useful to show it this week, unfortunately. But I can give you some numbers. We've calculated around 6 million pops in Central Africa, 4 million in Eastern Africa, and 1.7 in the Swahili coast, and the rest in the Southern Great Lakes, and 1.7 million in Southern Africa. Even if these numbers will be increased, in general terms, this division portrays decently the extent of the expansion of the Bantu people as having more population to the north and less to the south. That is all today for these maps. However, I will be showing a little bit more, and we will be getting 2 Tinto maps on Monday. Poland and will be getting its review, which is very cool. And then on Friday they will show Arabia. Nice. This is something that people have been looking for a long time, and for sure I will be doing a video covering the review of Poland, Ruthenia, and the Baltic. But I'm not done yet, because I also have an extra Tinto map to share with you. This is the Tinto maps of the Sahara, which was posted on Tuesday. Nobody expects a Tinto maps extra unless it's promised, as mentioned last week. Anyway, today I want to share with you the lands around the Sahara Desert. Most of them have always been shown in previous Tinto maps. 2 for Northern Africa and 2 for Western Africa and the Horn of Africa. So this is kind of the puzzle piece connecting all of the regions. What we prefer to show is the Tinto maps extra. So for countries, well, there's no new ones because we saw Mali already. We saw Kanem-Bornu. We saw Fezzan. Like, we're just getting the bit in the middle. Showing the non-coloured wastelands as to notice clearly which locations are controlled by a country in 1337, which ones are corridor ones, and the corridor bug is not yet solved, so showing the coloured version would be a bit deceiving. As for societies of pops, again, this is going to be very work in progress, but just looking at the corridors now, this looks really nice. The amount of ways that we can get through the Sahara Desert, I really like the look of this. The existing societies of pops, as mentioned in other Tinto maps, very work in progress and placeholder, especially in Western Africa, as these are the regions that were made with much earlier than others. I thought it would be interesting to show the extension of the Tuareg people, who go all the way to the north up here, which is wild, which were added later, are pretty much in place. Please also take into account they have several layers in game to portray different forms of social organization. So in some places they have landowning countries with integrated and accepted tribal pops being important, like Morocco, while in other places they have more societies of pops, and other regions were populated just by horizontal societies, thus not belonging to any country. As for locations, you can get a little bit more of a look on the individual oases in the Sahara. Very nice. A bit more zoomed in on various areas as well. Yeah, I think these look really good. I'm not gonna lie. I think I'm definitely warming up to the corridors. I think originally I had preferred if they were basically this was sort of on its own up here, and then to get to this location here, there would be a straight crossing basically. But I am warming up to the corridors. I think that is actually a more elegant solution. As you can see, there are plenty of connections through the Sahara, although most of them are non-inhabited and non-ownable corridor locations, the ones without names on them. As for provinces, we have these here, very nice. And areas are there, Sahara oases getting a huge area all to itself. The terrain. I feel like, didn't we see that there is a desert terrain? Or is that's a vegetation state? Never mind. But anyway, it's all arid, all the way up, all the way down. It's just arid. Makes sense. A little bit of hilly, a couple of mountains here, and mostly flatland. And then it's desert. The vegetation is all desert. Makes a lot of sense. As for cultures, we have them represented here. I think the Tubu hadn't appeared yet. You'll see others like Gadala to their full extent. I already have some feedback on how to review the extension and naming of some of these, but as usual, any feedback is welcomed. Very nice. I think the culture map is the more impressive one when we're looking at this region. Especially when you see a lot of the culture diversity there is very important. Religions, it's mostly Sunni, but we get a little bit of Ibadi here as well. Very nice. The raw materials, salt, I guess, makes sense. Some dates. Sand. Who would have thunk it? There's a lot of sand in the desert. Pretty sure you won't be able to sell that to your own people, but maybe exporting it to British beaches, potentially, please. Get a bit of sand instead of that pebbly shite. Plenty of sand, which apart from being coarse and rough and irritating, gets everywhere. True facts, actually. I hate it. There are other interesting materials in Sahara, such as salt, alum, copper, and some iron. As for markets, kind of interesting stuff here. They connect to the northern, western, and central African markets. While writing this, they found a bug in the extension of some markets outside of the known locations of the owner of the market center. After fixing it, it would mean that the market of Sevilla wouldn't extend so much to the south, and instead, Fez and Nyan would initially control the trade through the Western Africa, as historically happened. Very nice. Okay. But yeah, seeing these go through the corridors all the way up is very, very nice indeed. Lovely. Well, I just thought I would share that lovely little Tinto Maps extra with you, which means that we have the entire map of Africa filled out with Tinto Maps. Of course, there will be reviews coming to it as they are made, especially to add more of the societies of pops for sure. But I think it's great we have our second full continent filled out. I guess we're a little bit short on Europe. Actually, we do need to see a little bit more of the Crimean steppe, Pontic steppe area. But other than that, I think that's really cool. And here it is, the full map of Africa, all stitched together by Jums77. And I think they've done, obviously, a pretty fantastic job. This is the political map mode that we will be seeing anytime that we load into EU4. Again, there are areas that I think are maybe less filled out than they maybe could be. It would be nice maybe if we could see the societies of pops layered over this in some ways to make this area feel less empty, I guess. Maybe it will look a little less empty when we look at this map mode with terrain on it, because of course we do not yet have the terrain map mode in the game yet. But essentially, this is what we're going to get, and I'm not against it. I think it does look good. So let me know, of all of the countries in Africa that we have yet seen, which one is striking you as the most fun to play? Which one do you think you are going to play first out of every country that we've seen in Africa? For me personally, I think I'm going to be playing Ethiopia at some point. Oh god, this map is huge. It's huge, makes sense. I think Ethiopia is going to be one that I try out pretty early on. Whether it is to become Beta Israel or to stay as Ethiopia, control the Horn of Africa, and go from there. I'm not sure yet, but yeah, I think that is going to be a fun one. But let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. I will go and blow my nose now because I'm getting pretty sick. I hope to be better for the next video, which will be tomorrow, where I look at the comments and responses from Johan on the most recent dev diary. But until then, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.